who wants to guess what's the, so for obviously former ex-gymnasts are my best athletes as far as the gymnastics stuff goes. Who do y'all think is second, in my opinion? Dancers, besides George, my spirit animal, George Sanchez. My athletes like Brooke and people who are dancers, it's because this body awareness that they build up, right? And competing these high-level body weight tasks and noticing what their bodies are doing in space. So when Mike and I and Matt first started this, like I said, I wanted to teach people a bunch of tricks. I want to teach people to do, like, okay, now we're going to teach them how to do a muscle up. Now we're going to teach them how to do a bar muscle up. And then it became, if you've been around me long enough, you know one of my favorite analogies is to say I decided I wanted to stop teaching people to build a birdhouse. I wanted to stop teaching people to build a mailbox. I wanted to teach them to be a carpenter. Then they can build whatever they want. And that's when we really got down to this, how do we build somebody a foundation so that it can be as if they were a gymnast when they were younger. And then they start succeeding in whatever CrossFit or functional fitness throws at them or whatever their life throws at them. How can they be successful without being like, no, I've never tried that before. You know, I don't know how to do that. So what we ended up doing is coming up with this system of organizing what are body attributes that we need to build in our bodies in order to build that foundation. That's the second common thing. Both Chris and Matt already talked today to you guys about building your foundation. Okay? It's the most important thing. You look at quotes by Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, anybody who's ever been the best at anything builds the foundation and the basics first. So what does that foundation look like? If we look at the body like a machine needs gears, motor, and fuel. Now, if we take this machine concept and we surmise what does it take, what are those attributes in a person that it takes to build an efficient machine, okay? For the gears, we have skill, okay? The ability to move our body in an efficient manner. For the motor, we have strength, okay? And for the fuel, we have our endurance, okay? Now, let's break that down a little bit further. For skill, we break that into what positions our body ends up getting into in each movement. Okay? How we get from one position to another and our ability to physically get in those positions, and that's range of motion. So it's static positioning, dynamic movement, and range of motion. All of this organization goes back to the fact that when Mike and them asked me to be the brute gymnastics coach, I always wanted to be able to say why. Okay? Chris said that. That's the most important thing. You know, in functional fitness, I love it. I love CrossFit. But there's a lot of this stuff out there where if you ask somebody, hey, why did you make that workout? I don't know. It got people's heart rate up and it was hard and it was a good one. You know, but no, I want to say if we're going to do something, we're doing it for a reason. And so in order to do that, we have to organize everything. So we organize our skill and then we break it down even further, okay? So we take our static positioning and we look at it in terms of what is that helping us accomplish? If you have a ring muscle up, it starts off in a hang, okay? It goes to the top of a pull-up hold, to the bottom of the dip, and then a ring support. Each one of those are positions that you can define, okay? And then we say, all right, so how do I know how often I want my athletes doing any one of these different things? We have to break it down further into categories. So now let's take a look at strength. So strength, we're going to break it down into core, pushing, pulling, and lower extremity. And then we can break those down into further categories. So now let's look at this static positioning, because I always told people at most of the seminars that I do, if you want to take one take-home message and apply one thing to your training program on your own that'll make you better, it's probably doing more static positioning work, okay? Because that is what helps you work on increasing your ability to withstand time under tension in these different positions, and also makes you stable as the building blocks of every movement you do. So what does that mean? What is he saying when he's saying, I need to work my static positioning? How do I apply that? Well, there's first, an easiest way to do it is to say, okay, I have a skill like handstand push-up that I want to get better at. So what do I need to be able to do? You examine each part of the range of motion. There's the top. Okay, that's a handstand. The bottom, what's that? Headstand, right? Okay, and back to the top, that's a handstand. That's an easy one. Okay, then we have the muscle up. I went over that earlier. So you can look at what each position of this are. All right? Then you can take even something like a bar muscle up. Say, how are their positions on a bar muscle up? What's that? The hollow hang. Okay? What's that? That's an arch hang. What's that? That's a lever. Okay? What's that? That's a support. Okay? So that's the easy, and then sometimes it's the movement itself as the position. So that's a tested skill, an L-sit. Okay? So now you can make some big obnoxious charts. You guys have all this. All right. You can go, yeah. So So I just, yeah, this is what I did whenever I have a 6-month-old, and whenever I had, Mike asked me earlier, he was like, when did you do all this shit? I was like, well, I had my baby, and I was just sitting there holding the baby, and I was just typing, so I typed all this out. Yeah, my life's pretty wild. My life is pretty wild. So, and these are some other, so you guys have all this. So what's the next way we can do it, okay? The next way we can do it is by breaking it down into the different orientations that our bodies can be in, okay?